we we stayed in this game and fought all the way to the end on the onside kick. I really feel for our players. Their fight and working to, play from trailing behind from 10-0 deficit from early on in the game and working to find ways to get ourselves back in the game, making plays, getting ourselves back into a one-possession game. Unfortunately, we were unable to pull it out tonight, but it went all the way down to an onside kick at the end, and I love the players for their fight and what they were able to do. We needed to get off the field on third downs more. When you play an offense like this that is capable of throwing the ball the way they are, we didn't do a good enough job getting off the field in third down situations. And ultimately applying pressure onto the quarterback. And so that's on us. We got to make sure that we're dialed in those situations so that we can be successful. We were moving the ball early on in the game, and we had 2 turnovers. And we found a way still, though, as we were moving into the half there to put ourselves in position, especially getting the ball. And ultimately, we were chasing those 7 points on the kickoff return that we gave up just before the half. And that's on us. We got to do a better job. I got to do a better job making sure that we get in those situations, and we fully understand when we kick a squib kick exactly where that ball needs to be, because we got guys that are capable of putting the ball wherever we need them to, on the field there, and being able to get out of that half and then come out and still the middle 8. We didn't get that done, which that would have gave us a ton of momentum there. So for our team, as we move forward, we have the opportunity to be 1-0 next week, and it's a 24-hour rule just like it is when we win. We got guys that care deeply. I feel for the guys looking at them as they walk off the field and into the locker room. This team cares. You can see in terms of how they fought, all the way to the end. And, it's guys went down in the game, and there were guys that stepped up, moved positions, and, gave us a shot, again, ultimately to have a chance to play for the win at the end. And I love them for that. I'm proud of them for that. We will we'll look at the film, and we're going to find ways to be able to grow, especially as we go down the stretch here.
Obviously not the outcome you wanted, but Jonah was a bright spot tonight. He set the program career record for field goals. I mean, what has it been like? What does it say about him to go from a walk-on to now being the most productive kicker in Boise State history?
Yeah, just exceptional young man, not only in his skill set and what he's able to do, but who he is as a person, and just proud of him. I mean, there's it's not the outcome we want. We've obviously had some tough losses this year, but there's a bunch of great young men on this team that are doing unbelievable things, and will continue to grow forward. Jonah's just we're fortunate to have Jonah part of this program and be a part of what he's been able to do, all the success that he's had while he's been here.
Yeah, the kickoff return right before half, you touched on it. Squib kick was good. Was it just a coverage issue there?
I mean, ultimately, when we squib like that, we don't want the ball going back to the returners. I mean, when you're going to squib in that situation, you don't want the ball in their hands for obvious reasons. And, again, that's on us to make sure that we get that executed better next time. That's 7 seconds on the clock there. It's a deeper squib, but you want to make sure it goes to one of the up-backs, not to one of the return guys. And then we've got to be able to cover, we've got to be able to cover the kick, especially being that it wasn't in the middle of the field. We got to be able to get down in our coverage lanes to take leverage, read how the front line is blocking, and we had too much space right in the middle, in between each side of the kicker.
What about the play where Austin got called for waving his arm? That obviously puts you guys in a tough spot back at the 3-yard line.
They said that he simulated a fair catch signal and was not the ball. He was not the intended returner. So because of that, we're down wherever the man that did not signal caught the ball.
Maddox wasn't perfect tonight, but he showed the toughness and grit that he always shows. I mean, what can you say about how he performed tonight?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately down the stretch, he gives us the best option to be able to, lead an offense to play from behind, and was pretty impressive on how we were moving the ball down the field, and ultimately, we spread the ball around to a bunch of different wide receivers tonight. It was good to see. Like Chase had a huge catch down the stretch there. It was awesome to see Austin Bolt have a catch. We got to be able to build off of that, just to be able to have that consistency and play with pace like that. Once we're able to get the sticks moving, we got to be able to play with some pace like that, whether it's in the run game and the pass game, because we've seen that throughout the course of the year we've been able to score fairly quickly and move the ball down the field when we use those tempo mechanisms that we do have, and that's something that we will build on as we move forward here.
42 passes down for Maddox tonight compared to just 2 for Tail End, and it seems like each game Maddox is getting more and more
Yeah.
of the. Is he kind of overtaking Tail End, or I mean, what's kind of
He's
going on?
he has definitely been able to execute more in the passing game more efficiently. It's led to our pass game numbers increasing. And ultimately really gave us a shot to win tonight by how he performed, and that's something that, again, we'll be able to evaluate as we move forward here, and what gives us the best shot to be 1-0 next week is what we'll do.
You had 19 targets, I think, for Eric McAllister, and then the next guy had 6. How much more do you need some other guys to get involved in the passing game?
Yeah, and that's really comes down to spreading it around too. Again, we had, Chase Pennery came off, being injured, and in his first game back, he had a huge catch just a second ago. Being able to spread the ball around to different guys, with Steph going down, some other guys got to jump in there, and a guy like Chase jumped in there and made some plays. And again, Austin, we got to get Austin going, in the pass game, and we've got other wide receivers too who are very capable. But again, we've got to get ourselves in that position where we can use that tempo and use the tempo pass game and get rolling. That's shown to be really efficient for us this year in terms of being able to move the ball up and down the field. And ultimately, though, we got to capitalize, in the red zone. We got to do a better job in the red zone. Late there, we had a huge play from Mad Dog, with his run on his scramble, and it was pretty impressive to see him do that.
Early on, Keenan was really eating you guys up with a deep ball.
Mhm.
I think tonight he hit 5 passes of 20 yards or more. This seems to be a weekly issue for you guys. As you go back and look at the film, what's the common denominator? What's
Last week
that?
we gave up one,
Right.
So this week, that's something that we've been trying to work on and obviously eliminate. But early on in the game, they hit a few of them in tempo situations that we've got to be able to put the defense in better calls to be able to handle those situations. But ultimately, it comes down to being able to apply pressure on the quarterback, and we've got to be able to get ourselves in certain calls that can do that. We've got to be able to win our one-on-ones up front and be able to play with leverage in terms of where wide receivers are lined up and how we're executing our techniques and coverage on the outside.
George looked a little closer to what we normally see out of George in terms of his quickness than I would think of him.
Yeah, he did. He looked different even than last week, right? Early on in the game, there were some nice holes for him at times, and then a couple times, he made the first guy miss, and he's getting back there. Obviously, it doesn't happen overnight when you're on the shelf that long, but George is a warrior tonight too, and not just running out of the backfield, but he had 6 catches too, 6 targets, 6 catches for 61 yards, receiving too. So he stepped up tonight. Looking forward to seeing George continue to grow and get in there and in terms of just getting himself back and getting back to his normal self. But he definitely looked closer to it tonight.
To be 4 and 5 at this point, 3 games to go. I know crazy things can happen, but it obviously looks kind of tough in terms of the Mountain West here. How do you kind of look at where you guys are at with 3 games left? And
We'll be 1-0 next week. That's the mentality. Okay.
Anything else? All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys.